Before I hand over the stage to Mallesh Kumar sir, a brief biodata about him. I welcome all the students, faculty members, and all the participants to this particular workshop here. This workshop is going to give an idea about how to pick up the different problems in society and generate the solutions in the form of an idea. This is what we are going to get out of this particular workshop here. And today's expert talk will be delivered by Mallesh Kumar KS. A brief profile about Mallesh Kumar. He has acquired B and M Tech degrees in computer science, and he's a GATE scholar. Who through the GATE scholarship he got into M Tech program. He is leading incubation centers from 2014, and one of them is he is a regional coordinator and incubation center manager for New Age Incubation Center, Karnataka. He was heading in JNNC when I happened to meet him. He's also heading the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, and recently has been nominated to different roles by different government agencies. One of them is KTech District Innovation Associate by Department of ITBT, Government of Karnataka. He is a Jagrati Ambassador for District Entrepreneurs for district, that is Shumaga District. He is also into seed business development service advisor at global level. So he's also taken the role of vice president convener of different incubation centers like 9, as well as New Gen IEDC, which was being sponsored by DST, Government of India. He was also coordinating the IP cell at JNC under the Industry Institutional Partnership Cell. And he is a program coordinator for the most buzzing technology of today, that is artificial intelligence, where Center of Intelligence Excellence is sponsored by Qualitas Technology, Bangalore. And he is also program coordinator for virtual lab supported by NITK Surat Kaval, Karnataka, under the centrally funded institutions. He is a nodal center coordinator for virtual lab supported by NITK. In a nutshell, we can speak that he has held a lot of, he has been a SPOC, single point of contact for Smart India Hackathon, Manthan, Startup India, KITS, and so many N number of programs which are being run at state as well as the national level. We name the program, he is there. So he is also the core member of Vision Karnataka Foundation, which is coordinating on startups and alternative livelihood through the entrepreneurship and innovation, skill development, MSME development, and rural development. So it will be difficult for me to read the entire biodata. Another 2-3 pages are there. With the permission of a resource person, I would like to welcome Mr. Mallesh Kumar for delivering the online session on problem solving and ideation workshop. I appeal the participants to kindly take the notes, which will be helpful for selecting and completing your mini projects as well as the major projects. This is going to be a wonderful session. So please help me welcome Mr. Mallesh Kumar. Sir, please take over the that is session here.
Thank you very much, sir. At the outset, I would like to thank you for having given me this opportunity to deliver this session. So I would like to thank the institute, basically SKSVMA Institute, which is located at Lakshmeshwar. I would like to thank the principal and IIC team, and then basically Dr. Rajshekhar sir. I think I know him since almost 7-8 years now. So it's very happy to address the students. Basically, conducting these kind of sessions will be a pleasure for anybody like me to probably give an insight and throw light on innovating new things and then solving various problems which we have in and around our locality. So basically, this particular session is organized by Department of Information Science and Engineering and also your institution level innovation council, which you have set up in the institute with the support of Ministry of Education and also AICT, if I'm not wrong. So I think this is a wonderful program. Basically, IIC is a very good program wherein they will involve the faculty, students, and also they will involve some of the alumni entrepreneurs and the local entrepreneurs as well. Basically, this kind of IICs or councils will really ensure in creating the innovation, startup, and entrepreneurial ecosystem in the entire institute and also in the locality. So having said that, I think it's a pleasure and privilege to deliver this particular session basically on problem solving and ideation. So as I understand, we have students from various engineering departments of this prestigious institute. So if you could recall, so if I also would remember teaching innovation and design thinking subject in the first year, right? So having the new education policy, VTU has made an attempt to bring this kind of a new subject where they are giving an insight on innovation and design thinking, right? Having understood those kind of subjects, it is kind of giving an insight for every engineering student to become a problem solver. In engineering, what happens is like we usually learn a lot of theory and practicals, and then we do some mini projects, hobby projects, and then eventually a final year project. But even then, somewhere we are leaving them and kind of abandoning them at some stage and some level, right? We're kind of not converting those ideas into final viable prototypes or product. That's where these kind of maybe subjects and also these kind of sessions like problem solving and ideation will give an insight to the students where whatever they are learning in their curriculum in these 4 years, they have a lot of time where they can do a lot of real time projects which can really solve real time problems. That's what would be the intention of conducting such sessions under IAC. So having said this, let us continue with the session on problem solving and ideation today. I think I have been given with almost 1.5 hour time. I would try to convey as much as possible. So these kind of events, usually I go to the institutions and then I'll be conducting a lot of hands-on activities where I'll involve students in working on their projects, working on their ideas, and then help them to write business plan and all that. So having this virtual, I'll try to engage as much as possible, wherein I'll try to cover whatever the content I have prepared for this particular session. So the session, whatever I am trying to cover, will be basically on ideation and also problem solving. Basically, I'll talk about innovation and prototype validation. That is very, very important, right? As I was saying in the beginning, usually students do a lot of projects, but somewhere they'll fail to validate, they will fail to commercialize or bring out of four walls. So that's where we are unable to take our projects into the real-time market, right? So having 200 odd engineering institutions under VTU, so you can imagine the number of projects where students are doing in the final year, right? Having those many number of projects, if you look at the number of projects which are really solving the problems, which are really going to the market, right, the number is very, very less. If you talk about IPR, again we are failing, right? We are having very minimal novelty or having minimal knowledge about intellectual property rights or filing an IP, filing patent or any other type of IP. Probably we are somewhere failing to even protect our ideas and commercialize our project. So that's why I'm trying to cover all those points where that would kind of gives an insight to all the students who are attending the session, where whatever the projects, at least from now on, they're doing, they can consider all these points and then probably ideate, innovate, and then solve the real-time problems which they're trying to. So having said that, I think these are the basic session highlights, I would say. Usually we'll have highlights at the end, but why I am bringing these highlights at the beginning is to give that kind of a maybe thought process to all of you, because this kind of these kind of things are already in the system there. Yeah, thank you. So basically, coming to the session highlights, first thing is to innovate, right? So when we talk about these kind of sessions, right, as engineers, if you look at engineers, they are placed everywhere, right? They are managers. Like me, I am managing an incubator now. So you can find engineers everywhere. They are into every segment, any segment you take, we find engineers solving real-time problems. That's why being engineering students, it is always very important to innovate and then probably come up with new solutions and creative solutions for the existing problem. That's where innovation is a very, very crucial thing. And then problem solving and ideation, having this session basically focusing on problem solving and ideation. If you take any vertical, for example, we may have students from civil, mechanical, ISC, CSE, electronics, right? If you look at any vertical, you have even today you have n number of problems where you have an opportunity to solve those problems as engineering students, right? So those real-time problems itself you can take as a problem statement and then probably work on their work on those problems and then eventually come up with a creative idea and then leading to a viable product or a prototype that would eventually solve that problem in real time. So that's what is the intent of this kind of program on problem solving and innovation, problem solving and ideation, right? Whatever the problems you see in the day-to-day life, you can choose one among them and then probably try working on that as a team, and then eventually you can maybe probably come up with an innovative idea, and then probably you can really have a build a real-time product or a prototype which can eventually probably solve the real-time problem. So when we talk about project, right, in engineering, as I was saying, even now we find a lot of genius students. Even from the first year we see a lot of creative students who will be doing some mini projects or hobby projects, right? So that means that in the 4 years tenure you have a lot of time to do this prototyping and basically do projects, right? So that how do you build a final viable product basically starts with the idea, right? Ideation means what? You have a problem, you have a set of problems or a problem statement. For that you'll have to come up with innovative or creative idea. That idea should lead to the viable product. How do you reach that viable product? When I say viable, viable is something useful, right? When you are looking at a real-time problem, whatever the product you are trying to build should be of some use, or it should solve the actual problem which you have as a problem statement, right? How do you reach that final product? You will reach that final product by doing projects. So if you ask me, in engineering what we do is like we'll do 1 or 2 projects and then probably we'll stop at that point, but that is not the case. We have something called TRL as mentioned in this slide. That is nothing but your technology readiness level. So we'll just reach the any first 2 levels of your technology readiness, then we'll stop at that point as an engineering student. That's where we are failing. So now what you have to do, having attended these kind of sessions, you should focus such that you will reach the peak of your technology readiness level. That ensures your final readiness of your product for commercialization, right? That is very, very important. And hence any prototype or a final product can be built from an innovative idea into a viable product. You can do that by prototyping or as a project, right? That itself is, we also call it as a proof of concept, which is a working prototype which will give you some result. So if you look at prototype validation, that is very, very crucial and important, right? Once you build a prototype as an engineering student, right, you will have to validate that. You will have to test that with a set of customers that will give you the actual required feedback and suggestions that will help you to fine tune your product or prototype, right? If you remember your design thinking subject, there where you had 5 different stages at your design thinking, right? If you could recall, what were the different 5 stages there? First stage was to empathize, then was to define, right? You will define the actual problem statement after clearly understanding the problems which the customers are facing. Once you are defining, what is the third stage? You will ideate, right? What is that ideate? Ideate itself means ideation. Ideation leads to what? Ideation leads to generation of innovative ideas that will help you to solve the selected problem. And then what is the fourth stage there? Fourth stage is the prototype. Prototype is nothing but your problem solving comes there. For problem solving, you are building a lot of set of prototypes, right? A set of prototyping is happening in this particular stage where you are building maybe a series of prototypes. The final prototype would be your final viable product, which will be ready to commercialize, right? So then the final fifth stage is nothing but your testing. Testing is nothing but helping your prototype validation, right? Having a set of customers, you are able to deploy your product and then get their feedback and suggestion to fine tune and validate your prototype. That is very, very crucial and important stage. So this particular innovation and design thinking is very, very important for all engineering discipline students, because right in the first year, I think you are getting an insight of being a problem solver, and you are able to generate a lot of ideas. You may belong to any department. Yeah. So basically, this particular subject is really giving an insight for all these students to become problem solvers and then create a lot of innovative ideas to generate problem statements and then build viable prototypes and products, right? The next point is IPR. What is IPR? As I mentioned in the beginning itself, IPR is intellectual property rights. Nowadays, we have Even we have that in the syllabus, which is giving a lot of insight to the students, faculty, and the academia as a whole to protect their innovation, protect their prototypes, protect their ideas also, right? This is very, very important. In academia, what happens? Whatever the project we do, we'll be very happy if we publish a paper. If we are we'll be very happy if we are showcasing that somewhere in the exhibitions, right? We'll be more than happy. But what happens once you reveal that to the outside world? You will not be able to protect your idea or protect your novel part, whatever you have in the product, right? So my suggestion would be, whatever the novel project you are trying to do, you'll have to do prior art search. You can even use Google patent search engine for prior art search, which will help you to understand the novelty side of your ideas, products, prototypes, projects, etc. Wherever you find that you have something novel part in your project, you can consult some patent attorneys or patent agents who will ensure patent filing or any type of IPR filing for your innovation. That is very, very important, right? As engineering students, as faculties, whatever we are trying to innovate, we'll have to seriously look at IPR aspect of your product or ideas. Very important. Then innovation into a startup, very, very crucial. I think I have already spoken about your IDT subject, INDT subject, right? So innovation into a startup is very, very important now. Though maybe the organizers have informed me to discuss on innovation and prototyping or problem solving, I will go a step ahead and tell you to even start a company. Very, very crucial, very, very important. Now, having this national education policy and national innovation and startup policy implemented at various institutes at India, right? So what happens is, like, the students are able to start their own ventures being students. That is also possible even in our university, Manipal University. Also, you can see a lot of student startups which are really doing good, and they are spending wherever they are free, whenever they are free, they are able to focus on their startup as well, right? So that means what? As a student or a faculty, whatever the innovation or ideas you have, right? Whatever the projects you are doing, if it is viable, if it is maybe having some novel side, if you protect it through IPR, you are free to start your own company, even in your own institute, having the permission of your management and principal. You should be able to start your own company. That is the kind of ecosystem you can eventually build through this IIC, whatever you have in the institution, right? I already mentioned about NEP. I think NEP is supporting, I think, at a greater extent to the students, where they are able to choose the required subjects, whatever they are liking and all that. Basically, based on ideas, whatever the projects you are doing, also you can probably choose the required subjects, having this NEP implemented in our institutions. And then having national innovation and startup policy, you are able to build, I think, your own startup policy for the institute. You can also have an IP cell, right, where you can also have an IP policy defined for your institute for various stakeholders like students, faculty, alumni, research scholars, even the local entrepreneurs, etc. Right? Then you already have an institution level innovation council. I think having these kind of sessions is very, very important to get more insight about creating such ecosystem, and then supporting student projects which can really reach the final stage where they can build the final viable product. Then probably you may have an entrepreneurship cell which can be advised by a faculty and then taken care by a student team, which can also conduct these kind of activities in the institute. And then probably this IIC can work in line with the e-cell of the institute, which can eventually build a policy for the entire institute, create an ecosystem as a whole, and eventually help in giving the job giving mindset to the student. Usually engineering, what happens, usually engineering, we all join engineering to get high paying jobs, right? But eventually that is not the case. Not every student will get a high paying job. So what has to be done? If you have innovative ideas, if you have potential to build your own prototype or product, right? If you have that passion, eventually you can start your own enterprise. Having a company or having a startup, you can really create huge impact to the society as a whole, right? That is the intention of IIC and all these activities, where we are trying to give you that startup mindset, entrepreneurial spirit you have to have, and then you have to come out of that job seeking mindset into job giving mindset, where you can probably be an entrepreneur, be your own boss, and then probably maybe build your ideas and build your dreams, and then probably create a lot of jobs, a lot of opportunities in the region as a whole. And then you can approach incubators like MUTBI, whatever we have at our university. You can also have your own incubator, basically to have these kind of pre-incubation and incubation engagements where you support students and faculties of the institute. And then these kind of activities will really help in NAC accreditations, NBA accreditations, and also in getting NIRF ranking, and also ARIA ranking is also now merged with NIRF, where if you want to get innovation ranking, these kind of activities are very crucial. You will have to have students and faculty patents and students and faculty startups, funds raised, and all that plays a vital role there. And then startup mindset is very important. Students who are attending this particular session, I find almost 40 plus students who are probably attend this particular session basically can have this kind of a startup mindset, very important. And this is the right time for you to try out, because you may be in first, second, or third, or fourth year of engineering. This is the right time for you to try out, right? If you fail, also nothing to lose. If you fail as a startup, trust me, most of the companies are very happy to have failed entrepreneurs or failed startup founders as their employees, because you have all those kind of prior experiences of running a company or doing multiple projects and all that, right? That kind of exposure will really help a company to hire you, and then it will eventually lead you to get a high paying job. That is for sure. If you are successful as a startup, if you're a student startup, that is really good, because in these 4 years you can try out. If you are able to successfully take it forward, nothing like it, you can probably avail a lot of government grants, whatever is available to you. Probably having all that, you can probably take your startup to the very next level. And then ecosystem development, as I was mentioning in this slide, I think having all these things done in the institute, you can probably build the entire ecosystem, whatever is available as an institute, and also at Lakshmeshwar or even in the Gadag entire district, and in and around your district. Probably you can spread this kind of ecosystem where this will really create a lot of awareness, and then a lot of ecosystem enablement will happen, and then eventually it will create a lot of jobs and then a lot of opportunities as a whole. So basically, having said that, so to do all that, you have a lot of schemes or a lot of initiatives that are there in India right now, right? You have a great opportunity. I think since almost last 8-9 years, you have a great potential or great support which is available from state and central government agencies. Like you have initiatives like Startup India, Make in India, Stand Up India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, Invest India, Startup India, Invest Karnataka, Startup Karnataka, Mudra. Mudra is a loan where even a student startup is eligible to get up to 10 lakhs of support without any collateral. Bank will be able to give you loans, and then support from various departments and agencies is available. And at the institute, you can also plan to probably set up a AICT Idea Lab or a NAIN center there with the support of the state government, and then you can also eventually start a TBA like what we have at Manipal University. So having said that, this would be the first question for all the student audience, whoever is attending this particular session. Basically, the intent of joining engineering would be, usually most of the students will be having the mindset of getting a high paying job, right? Now, I coming here as a resource person telling you to become an entrepreneur or have your own startup to create a lot of jobs and opportunities. Why entrepreneurship? This is the first question maybe that is arising now, right? Being an innovator, having done a lot of problem solving and ideation, eventually it should help you in two ways, right? One is to help you to build your profile and to help you to get a high paying job. And the next and the best option would be to have your own startup and then commercialize your own prototypes and products through your company. That is the best thing which can happen as a student here. So these are the different contents which I have planned for this particular session. Basically, I will try to introduce the importance of skill development and its importance, and then introduction to startup and entrepreneurship is very important, because students have to have at least the basic knowledge about having startups, and then what is the basic definition of entrepreneurship. You will have to understand that. Being a VT affiliated college, I understand in the 5th semester you would be having a subject which will give you an insight on entrepreneurship, but eventually that is not enough. You will have to go out and then probably explore a lot of things and understand the platforms and opportunities which you can avail as a student, which will eventually help you to ideate and then innovate and then probably commercialize your prototypes by problem solving, and then eventually start your own enterprise, right? And then I'll try to introduce the ecosystem. I was saying from the beginning, I was saying about creating your own entrepreneurial ecosystem as an institute, right? So you'll have to understand what is that ecosystem, and then startup ecosystem, if time permits, I'll also go through that. Then how to start a startup, we'll have to try to discuss that. And basically, I'll stress more about problem solving and ideation, where I'll tell you how a student or a set of students create a group and then probably ideate on a given particular problem statement and generate a lot of innovative ideas and eventually be the problem solvers, right? How do you solve the problem? By doing prototyping and building your own viable products as a whole. So then if time permits, I can also speak about role of universities, academic institutions, students and faculty for startups. Basically, if time permits, we can go for that. And then basically I'll try to give a quick insight about how MUTBI is operating, how Manipal Universal TBI is having an entrepreneurial ecosystem as a whole, which is kind of supporting the Mahe students, alumni, and also in the locality we are extending the support, and then probably they can conclude by 11th, 12:30 noon. So then probably we'll just proceed with the skills now. So basically, if you look at skills, what do you mean by skill? Skill is basically the ability to do something well. It is basically the expertise of an individual, right? Why they have chosen me as a resource person? Probably they would have identified that particular skill in me, and then probably they would have thought like I would be the best person for delivering this particular session. So that's how every engineering student or every individual as a whole will be having their own skill sets that will eventually help them to probably build their career, build their profile, etc. Right? That is basically the ability to do something well. It is an expertise. Though we have the students or faculty attending from the same institute, probably if you look at your skill sets, right? Every individual is having their own skill sets, right? It is differing from individual to individual. So skill development, it's a continuous process of identifying your skill gaps, developing and refining the skill gaps. Why I am talking about skill development or skill here? Because when you talk about ideation and problem solving, right, for any individual to solve a given problem or ideate a lot of innovative ideas, right, this skill is very, very important. Unless you have a proper set of skills, probably you may end up with wrong problem statements or wrong ideas, which will eventually lead you to failure of your final product. So basically talking about entrepreneurship, right? Entrepreneurship is the activity of setting up a business or businesses taking on financial risks in the hope of profit, right? So that means what? If you look at your family members or your neighbors, right? Most of them are not entrepreneurs, they're employees, right? Why is that so? Because if you look at the definition here, what is given here? Somebody will start their entrepreneurial career with the hope of profit. They will take that financial risk. They will have to invest their time, money, energy, all that, right? If they will invest all that, but eventually what they will have the hope of profit. That is not assured. If you look at the companies like Infosys or any successful companies today, or even if you look at the recent startups, if you look at Byju's, right? Initially, they all started with the hope of profit, and they have taken the financial risk. They have left their jobs, and they then built their own mission, and the entire they built their own team, and then they dedicated themselves for building that particular startup. Eventually, you can see where Infosys is right now, right? They have globally grown. They have created thousands of lakhs together jobs. They have created thousands of products, a lot of things, right? That means any startup will start small with a financial risk and the hope of profit, but eventually it will become a big enterprise if the team is very, very strong. Then if you look at startup, now in India we have a maybe buzzing word startup, right? If you look at startup ecosystem which is existing at Bangalore, which is very, very nice, very, very good. I think Bangalore as a startup hub is globally known, right? If you look at the startup ecosystem or entrepreneurial ecosystem, there is already the ecosystem enabled there. Everything is already available at Bangalore. Now what is happening? Now Bangalore being a hub of startups, now government of Karnataka is coming up with new initiatives where they are coming up with Beyond Bangalore initiative, where they are trying to go to tier 2 and tier 3 cities, where they are trying to create similar kind of ecosystem where they want to create these kind of incubators. They want to support student startups. They want to support maybe funding support, all that is kind of extended now even at the tier 2 tier 3 cities, right? So basically at India we have we'll treat any registered company as a startup and from the date of incorporation to next 7 to 10 years, and your turnover should be less than 25 crores. So having said this, I will just go through this particular video. If you are able to see that, I think it will be very good. Probably I will play that video now. It's just a simple video highlighting the journey of a entrepreneur.
Most people only pay attention to the final product of a successful entrepreneur. They say things like, I can never be like them, or they got lucky. What most don't see is what they've overcome. All the struggles, the daily rejections, the heartaches, the betrayals, the rumors, the criticism, the empty bank account, and all those lonely nights while trying to make their vision a reality. You see, the only difference between the one who quits and the one who doesn't is that they showed up every day. They worked hard every day. They hustled every day. They learned from a proven mentor every day. They improved every day. They did all this even though they felt like quitting every day. And eventually, they became who they are today.
I hope you are able to go through that video, right? If you look at the video, basically it was on an entrepreneur's life. If you look at in the beginning, it was all about the stress he had, the pressure he had, right? He had a lot of commitments, he was in a lot of pressure. But eventually, if you look at the end of the video, right, that will highlight the success of an entrepreneur, right? He is just having an empire which has created a lot of impact to the society as a whole, which has created a lot of job opportunities, which has created a lot of opportunities, and which has created a lot of problems, etc. That is why I am telling you or giving an insight in this session to be a maybe more than having a job seeking mindset. You try to have job giving mindset, try to be problem solvers, try to be generate a lot of innovation or ideas, whatever you are having in the mind, right? As a you can have multiple ways in which you can come up with the ideas that will eventually help you to be a startup founder. That itself is an entrepreneur, right? So that is very, very important here. You should have that kind of a mindset where eventually, if not today, at least 1 year down the line, 2 year down the line, or you after some years of experience, you should have the vision to become an entrepreneur, which will eventually create a lot of jobs, a lot of opportunities as a whole, right? So I'll just go to the next slide here. So as we have most of the students attending this particular session, see, when we say about entrepreneurship, it is not just doing a project, right? Since beginning, I was saying, like, you may do a lot of mini projects, hobby projects, and even in the final year, you will have to do a final year project, right? If you do all those projects, that will not lead you to become an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is much more beyond. You'll have to do a lot of things, a lot of survey, a lot of research. You'll have to do a lot of things which you have not done yet, right? Having done all that, that will help you to become a successful entrepreneur, one finding. So how do you build a final viable project? As I was mentioning at the beginning itself, it is through your innovative ideas from your, from your ideation. Basically, you are generating a lot of innovative ideas that will eventually building a viable product through your prototypes or proof of concepts. So testing have to be done, right? That also I have mentioned in the beginning itself, and then it is this point is very, very important here. Importance of skill and will, very, very important. You will gain a lot of skill through your regular curriculum activities, and also through attending such these kind of sessions, and also through your maybe mentoring from outsiders. All that will be there. Having all that, what is missing till today? is the willingness, right? You'll have to have that willpower or willingness to start something of your own, or to be a problem solver also. You'll have to have that will, that will give you the perseverance or consistency where you are able to focus on a daily basis and eventually convert that innovative idea into a viable product or a prototype. Very, very important. Any entrepreneurial journey will starts with an idea and a strong team. Very, very important. This point is very, very important, because even though you have a very novel idea, very good idea, if you don't have a strong team, you will eventually not convert that idea into a final viable product, right? Your prototyping will fail there. Your problem solving eventually will fail. What is required now? Though your idea is very simple, you'll have to have a strong team that will probably take it to the very next level. For example, I'll give you a simple example. I think all of you are aware about safety pins, right? You are aware about safety pins. If you look at simple product like a safety pin, that is making global business today. Why? Because they had a vision, mission, and a strong team. Basically, they had a strong team that had the passion, and then they protected IP for that safety pin. They protected others from infringing that, others from copying that particular product as a whole. Though it is a very simple product, no other company can easily copy that without having an agreement or without having a collaboration with that particular company, right? Now, what is happening? Though if you look at the product, that may not have a lot of innovation, a lot of maybe, what do you say, a lot of maybe physical aspect in that. So what is happening there? Though the product looks simple, that is making global business, that is making a huge turnover, having this strong team. That means what? Though you may have a raw idea or a simple idea, you should have a strong team which will focus on a daily basis and eventually converts that as a viable product, and that can be converted as a startup. Then you can commercialize that product after your protection of IP. Then you can probably start your revenue generation and all that. Very, very important. Commitment is very, very important for any startup, for any student team. Commitment is very, very important. And then hardships, very, very maybe part and parcel of an entrepreneur's life. If you remember the previous video, right? The maybe 40 to 50, 60% of video was all about hardships, right? Only at the end you were able to see the impact that the entrepreneur has created, or maybe the opportunities, whatever he was able to create as an entrepreneur, you were able to understand. IPR is very, very crucial for any student innovator and also entrepreneur. Intellectual property right is very, very important. As we understand our fundamental rights, for any innovator, IPR is as important as that. Then company incorporation is very important. Now, being a part of this IIC or being a student, you are attending this session today, right? If you have innovative ideas, what you have to eventually do from today onwards, all of you should sit together, create a strong team, work on that particular idea, and then eventually have a timeline. Maybe next 6 months, you should have a timeline for probably building a working prototype, or next 1 year, you can have a final viable product roadmap, right? Once you have all that, how do you commercialize? Basically, you cannot commercialize as an individual, right? For example, me being an individual, I should not commercialize my product. Though it is a readily available product which I have built, you can only commercialize your product through the company. For that, you will have to register your own startup. Then you can probably that itself is known as company incorporation. Once your company is incorporated, once you have a registered entity, you are free to commercialize your products, do your business. Then itself you can do the product launch. So these are the different things any innovator or entrepreneur will come across. You can just have a quick glance at this particular slide here. Then this is very, very important slide. Wherever I go, I will carry this particular slide. So you can just see the difference between an entrepreneur and a set of employees going there, right? If you look at the major difference, what is that you can observe? Maybe till today, you might have had the mindset of becoming an employee, right? Now, if you look at the different paths which the entrepreneur is taking and then the set of employees are taking, what is the difference here? If you look at entrepreneur, he looks very confident, right? He looks very confident. And then what is happening? He is not following anyone, right? He may have a lot of mentors. He may have his team at the back, and then a lot of things would be there. But he is very much free to decide, and he is ready to take up any risk, whichever is coming in the future. right? That you can easily observe there. And he is not following anybody's guidelines. He is just creating his own guidelines and all that. He is just like setting up everything, all guidelines, all things. He is going to be the whole sole responsibility for the entire thing which is happening. If you look at employees, what is happening there? They are all identical, right? They are all identical. If you replace any individual there in the row, right? Whether are you able to make it? No, right? You will not be able to find that because all are identical. If anybody is leaving that job, they're highly replaceable. Anybody will come there, fit in, and then just that routine job will be followed. For all that, procedures will be predefined. Any individual comes there, will get the training and then do that particular work, right? That means what? If you want to create impact at a larger scale, what is the thing available to you? That entrepreneurship is the only way where you can have the exponential growth. You can create a lot of impact. You can create a lot of jobs. You can create a lot of opportunities. If you be an employee, what happens? You will just follow your routine job. You will be having maybe linear growth, not the exponential growth you will find here, right? You are replaceable. Any day you can be replaceable. That is the major difference here. That is to just identify the difference between an entrepreneur and the set of employees. Now, having seen this slide, you should decide now whether to have a job seeking mindset or a job giving mindset, right? This is the time to decide and then work upon your ideas, your innovative ideas, whatever you have as a student. So this is very simple quote about entrepreneurship. It is entrepreneurship is living a few years of your life like most people won't, so that you can spend the rest of your life like most people can't, right? That you have observed even in the video which I have tried showing. So now, if you look at a startup, right? When you look at a startup, if you are a student, if you are having a team, if you have done a lot of innovation, if you have built a lot of prototypes and all that, right? Having done all that, eventually what has to be done? If you want to commercialize, you will have to have a startup, right? That itself is a registered entity. Now, for any startup, what has to be there in the ecosystem? Basically, there will be idea, right? At least one single innovative idea should be there, or a set of ideas will be there. You have to have a goal which has to be defined. You'll have to have a lot of innovations happening in the startup. You'll have to have a strong team, very, very important, right? And then you'll have to have a business plan for your entire startup, which will really, really work as a vital thing here, because business plan plays a vital role in any startup to make it a global business, right? If you are having a very good product, and then if you have a wrong business plan, then eventually you will fail as a startup, right? So the importance, whatever we give as engineers, is for prototyping, but that is not the case for a startup, right? For any startup to be successful, the importance you give for your team, importance you give for your prototyping, the same important or next level importance should be given for your business plan as well. Very, very important, right? Then the money plays a vital role here, right? You will have to invest. Initially, you will have to bootstrap. You will have to invest your own money. Up to some extent, you can avail some grants or funding from the government agencies, incubators, etc. Or eventually, if you are a startup, you can probably seek some government grants or even bank loans, etc. Right? Maybe as you are a startup, maybe for next 5 years, if you are still in your own academic setup, or if you are in your own city, right? After some point of time, you'll also have to scale up your business. That is also very, very important. You will have to keep all this in mind. So if you are planning to start your own enterprise, you will have to keep all these things in mind before even starting a company. So these things are kind of repetitive. I'll just, due to time constraint, I'll try to kind of skip these things here. So we'll just see what is that available in any entrepreneurial ecosystem as a whole, right? So in your own place also, this kind of ecosystem is very, very crucial to have maybe a good number of startups or good number of incubators coming in the region, right? Basically, you will have government policy there, you will have regulatory framework and infrastructure, you'll have funding and finance, you'll have culture, you'll have mentors, advisors, and support systems. They may be from universities, they may be from academic institutions, or they may be from maybe industry background as well. You can have universities as catalysts, very, very important. Universities play a vital role in giving the lot of the required things to the startups, industries, etc. Then education and training is required, and then human capital and workforce, then local and global markets. So this is the entrepreneurial ecosystem. And if you look at a startup ecosystem, Again, you will have to have all these things in the ecosystem as a whole, right? These both of them are inline. So if you look at startup ecosystem and the entrepreneurial ecosystem, both are very much inline. You will find big companies here, you will find universities, you will find funding organizations, you will find service providers, you will find research organizations here, you will find support organizations, etc. Right? If you look at startup ecosystem, whatever I have explained earlier, all that is there. You will find ideas, inventions, research will be happening here through startups, incubators, and then startups at various stages. Entrepreneurs will be there, startup team members, investors, mentors, advisors, and then other entrepreneurial people will be there, and then people from related organizations will be there. So if you say talk about startup ecosystem, these all things will come into picture. Now having this kind of IIC at the institute, eventually you can try to build such kind of a entrepreneurial ecosystem, startup ecosystem, having network with all kind of stakeholders. Eventually probably you can build such kind of a ecosystem as a whole, which can probably help in having student startups, faculty startups in the campus in the years to come. So this is all about how to start a startup. This I'll just skip at this point of time because having very limited time, we'll just skip at this point. You can just quickly have a look at this particular slide, which is kind of giving a insight on how to start a startup. So now let us focus more on the problem solving and ideation here. So I think this is the core topic, whatever is given to me, right? Problem solving is basically a crucial part for any engineer, right? Whether you are an employee, whether you are an employer or an entrepreneur, right? You are a problem solver, right? Because you are focusing on day-to-day problems which the people are facing, right? Then you are trying to work on that particular problem and then eventually come up with a solution, viable solution or a product or a prototype as an engineer. But for that, what you have to do? You have to do ideation, right? Ideation means generating a lot of ideas. Though you are an employee in an MNC or a company, or if you are an entrepreneur, this ideation plays a crucial role where you can probably generate a lot of innovative ideas. How do you ideate? Basically through your hackathons. Probably if you can conduct some hackathons, boot camps, right? You can also have brainstorming with your like-minded set of students there. That will eventually lead to a generation of a lot of ideas. Set of ideas can be defined or maybe written over for a given problem statement. Then you can probably select one or two feasible ideas, whatever you have ideated. Then you can probably start working on those ideas eventually with the support of your own college, your own faculty mentors there. You can have some industry people who can probably also kind of guide you, mentor you, give some required technical guidance or probably the ecosystem or a platform, whatever you are in need of, right? This is very, very crucial. This problem solving and ideation, probably it is very, very important for all streams of engineering students where you can probably choose the required problem statement and then probably generate a lot of innovative ideas and then proceed further. So when you say problem solving, right? Problem solving is very, very, maybe we all are very much familiar about this particular terminology, right? Problem solving, we all know that. So what exactly is the definition for problem solving? It is the act of defining a problem. It is basically the act of defining a problem, then determining the cause of the problem, then identifying, prioritizing, and selecting alternatives for a solution and implementing a solution. That itself is the successful implementation, right? Unless you implement that solution, right, to solve that particular problem, that may not be a successful implementation. So this is the basic definition of problem solving. So having seen this, you can observe, I think we are all having this kind of a mentality or mindset, right? Maybe we may observe a lot of problems. Maybe if I am a civil engineer or civil engineering student, I may observe a lot of things which I can see while coming to the college or while traveling somewhere in the region. You may find a lot of problems, right? If I am a electronics engineering student, even then I can find a lot of things which are probably are still the problems in our day-to-day life. Probably you can see your own campus or your own maybe your own while traveling also you can observe, or even in your bus also you can see some electronics part you can probably bring in or implement, right? Some automation you can bring in, some artificial intelligence and machine learning can also you can bring in, right? If you look at any vertical, this problem solving is a crucial. If you look at any product which is touchable and probably usable, whatever we are using in our day-to-day life, everywhere we find engineers who have solved that problem, who have built that particular product or a solution. And hence, this problem solving is crucial for all of us to understand and then probably use this in our day-to-day life. So basically, if you talk about problem solving, these are the different things which comes into picture, right? If you are solving a problem, what is that you are eventually building? You are eventually building the solution here, right? That solution may be a platform or a product, right? The product either may be a software or a hardware product, but that will eventually solve the problem statement, whatever you have chosen, right? So in your problem solving, your solution will be the focus. Having the problem statement defined, you are trying to build your solution. If you come back to your design thinking, there also you have 5 different stages, eventually converting your ideas into the final solution or the final product, right? That itself you can probably use at this particular. Similar to design thinking, there are various other ways which can also probably help you to convert your idea into a viable prototype. You can use whichever is convenient to you. You can probably use any methodology and then probably solve that particular problem, right? So basically, in the problem solving, you are focusing on generating solution for the problem which you have considered. And initially, it starts with definition, right? When you look at any problem, you'll come up with a problem definition, which is very, very crucial. Maybe before that, you will have to do a lot of survey, market research, analysis, all that you have to do and come up with a definition for your problem that will help you to generate the required solution through this particular mechanism or a methodology, which is the problem solving technique here, right? And then planning is required, rigorous planning. I think meticulous planning is very, very important here. If you have a 5-member team, all of you should involve in this planning. And then this planning is very, very important because from converting this idea into a viable product, there may be a lot of iterations happens, a lot of delay would be there, a lot of problems, hurdles would be there. For all that, you will have to have a proper planning, which will eventually help you to convert that idea into a viable product. Then creativity is very, very important. As I was saying in the beginning, having all these skill sets and all that, right? Creativity plays a vital role here. Unless your solution is novel or innovative or creative, nobody will use it, right? If you look at a smartphone, now whatever we are using today, if there is any advancement, then only we will think of changing our handset, right? If there is no advancement or if there is any no novelty, if there is no features which are not in my phone, what I will do, I will not prefer purchasing or going for a new phone, right? Similar to that, if there is no creativity or novelty, you may finally fail as a business. And hence, creativity is very, very important. And then you have to be having creative mindset, creativity as a team to build creative solutions as well. Innovation, very, very important, right? As you are solving a problem, this innovation is very, very important. Unless the product or a solution you are giving is innovative, nobody will buy that. Nobody will purchase that, right? If you take an example of purchasing a simple pen, as we have many students attending this particular session, if you are purchasing a 10 rupee pen, even then you look at the novelty side there, you look at the feasibility there, you look at the comfortness, right? No company will force you to purchase their own pen. It is all depending on the customer who will decide to go ahead with which company, which brand, which model, right? And hence, unless as an innovator, as a company, as an entrepreneur, whatever you are trying to innovate or whatever you are trying to build as a product, unless it is innovative, unless it is creative, nobody is going to buy that. Please keep that in mind while solving the problem. And then cost, you'll have to understand that. If you go back to design thinking, probably you will do empathizing at the very first stage, right? Why do you do that? That is to understand the cause there, understand the requirement, understand the users or the customers' problems, whatever they're facing. For that only you are empathizing in design thinking. Similarly, here also you'll have to understand the cause, understand the requirement, then only you'll have to go ahead for solutions or problem solving. Then next thing is to have a set of goals that will eventually help you to convert those ideas into solution. Then you can have various methods. As I was saying earlier also, you can use the design thinking method or any other method, right? Whichever is convenient based on your problem statement, you can choose. You are free to choose the methods which are required for solving a given problem, right? Having all that, you can have a method defined and then planning, having a proper planning. You should be able to be a problem solver and then convert your maybe problem statement eventually into a idea, and then at the later stage you can have a solution which can solve the actual problem which is there in the real time. I hope you are clear about problem solving now. So if you look at problem solving skills, very important. Initially only I have spoken about skills here. If you look at problem solving skills, these are very crucial for any engineer who is trying to solve a given problem. First thing is to listen, right? We are all, I think we are good in probably communicating, but we somewhere fail in listening, right? We will also having a team. For example, if you have 5 members group, if you have a mentor from industry and academia, right, you will have to be having good listening skill. You'll have to listen them carefully and then come up with all those strategies which are required for maybe converting your idea into a final viable product. And then analyzing, again, this skill is very important. For analyzing also, you'll have to have a proper skill required for analyzing. And then research is very important. You may ask me, sir, we are in engineering now, why do we maybe talk about research at this point of time? No, I think for any individual to build any product, to build any viable product, this research is very crucial. Unless you do a rigorous research, you may do a already existing product, or you may build a already existing product, or you may build a product which is probably much more lower than the existing product. That is of no use, right? For all that, you will have to do this research as well. This skill is very important. Then creativity, as I mentioned earlier, is very important. Then communication, very crucial. Though you build, maybe in engineering, this only will happen, as I have observed with maybe previous set of student projects, right? They will be technically very sound. They will build their final project also very good. Then they will eventually fail in communicating, right? In other cases, what happens? Though they are technically low, right? They are very good in communication. They are able to convince the investor or anybody, or to the customer, etc. Again, if you look at an engineer also, this communication plays a vital role, crucial role, because whatever the prototype or product or solution you have, you should have a good communication skill, communication language. All that is very important to have a business for your final product. Then the last thing, and last but not the least thing, is the teamwork. As I mentioned earlier also, your team plays a vital role, crucial role, right? You should have a strong team which will eventually do a teamwork to solve the given problem. Very important. All these 6 are very important skills. Then these are the key steps to improve your problem solving skills. How do you improve? Probably today you may not have all the mentioned skills for to be a problem solver. What you have to do, you have to improve your problem solving skills. How do you do that? That you can do by defining the problem, then analyzing the problem, develop potential solutions, evaluate the options, then select the best option out of the set of solutions. You can select the best one here, and then implement that solution to solve the real-time problem. And eventually at the step 7, you'll have to measure the results. So these are the different steps which are very crucial in problem solving, which the students will have to imbibe as skill sets. So basically, I have spoken enough about problem solving now. Now, being engineering student or a faculty or a set of combination of both, a faculty with a set of students, right? How do you generate innovative idea? Basically, we talk about ideation, right? How do you generate innovative idea? Is it that simple to generate innovative ideas? Though we have a lot of ideas in mind, we are not sure whether it is a good idea or a bad idea or a raw idea. We are not at all sure, right? So how do you generate an innovative idea? We'll just proceed further and understand the idea generation process here. So basically, it is the process of creating, developing, and communicating ideas which are abstract, concrete, or visual. So the process includes the process of constructing through the idea, innovating the concept, developing the process, and bringing the concept to reality. Idea generation is very important. It is a creative process businesses use to generate new ideas, whether they are tangible or intangible. In both the cases, they will use this idea generation process. It involves gathering ideas, research, testing, editing, or revising, and ultimately implementing the plan. Very important. Now, so having understood the definition of idea generation, right? We all know for any given problem statement, we have sets of ideas with in all our minds, right? What you have to do? You will have to write down all those ideas. Maybe every now and then, all of us will get, whether you are a faculty or a student or any individual, for any given problem, you will come up with a lot of ideas. Where we are failing is we are not noting down those problems, and then probably we are not working towards those ideas or problems, whatever we are getting in the mind. So for doing all that, maybe having these kind of IIC will probably help you handhold you to probably understand the correctness of your ideas and then work towards implementing those ideas into the final viable prototypes or products. So these points are very, very important as we have the student audience in this session. I think this is very, very important. So as I was mentioning earlier also, no idea is simple. I have given an example of simple safety pin. Similar to that, you can find n number of infinite number of ideas which I have created. Global business, huge business, right? Similar to that, you may belong to any engineering stream. You can just build a simple viable product that can help you to start your business. So, and hence no idea is simple. It is all about the team, maybe taking you to the next level. So know how good is your opportunity. Very, very important. You should know the opportunity, whatever you have as a student innovator. Whatever the innovation, whatever the ideation you have, whatever the prototyping you're doing, right? You have to ensure all these things while building your prototype. What is that? Whatever the prototype or project you are doing should be unique, innovative, and efficient, right? All these things you have to remember. Then project team, I urge all the students who are trying to build a prototype or a product, right? You try to have, at least for the hobby projects, I suggest you to go with the interdepartmental teams or intercollegiate and also mainly strong teams. For example, if you are working for agri-based, agri-tech idea, right? If you are working for some agricultural or irrigation related product, right? Maybe being near to the maybe Panchayat Raj and Rural Development University, probably you can collaborate with them, with the students, with the faculty there. Probably that would give you more insight, more knowledge, more inputs to fine tune your ideas and then eventually build the final viable product. And similar to that, you can collaborate with a medical institute where if you are building some medtech kind of a prototype or project. So similar to that, based on the vertical, you can plan to have interdepartmental and intercollegiate and the strong teams there. You'll have to learn cutting edge technologies. Like I think being in the VTU ecosystem, we all are having very good fundamentals, very good curriculum. But to build such kind of technologies or products, right, you will have to go a step ahead and learn cutting edge technologies to build such viable products. Then mentoring from industry and academia experts is very, very important here. Survey, market research and analysis, which your faculties and industrial experts would really help you in undergoing this survey, market research and analysis, where it will really, really help you to fine tune your ideas, which will really help you to build final viable products. So faster implementation and launch, very, very important, because whatever the prototypes you are building as a student or a startup, right, you will have to aim for a faster implementation and a launch. That it's because we know the technology disruption, right? We know the pace at which technology is disrupting. For example, the applications, mobile apps, whatever we were using last year, we may not be using those now today, right? We have the updated applications, or we may have somebody else's application where we are getting the better solutions, better features. So similarly, having that kind of a fast pace, I suggest you to have a faster implementation for your ideas. Then any incomplete idea, project or a product is of no use, right? As engineers or engineering students, we may do a lot of projects, we may have a lot of ideas in mind, it is of no use, right? If you have a incomplete product also, it is of no use. Whatever you have developed, you have to give a logical end that will ensure your business or a commercialization for your product. So bring out of four walls, whatever you have built, you have to bring it out of four walls and then make it open to the outside world to use it. That itself is known as successful implementation, right? We do a lot of projects which will be kept in your labs, in your departments, that may be of no use. If you have built a product for irrigation, right? If that prototype is really, really working good in your lab or department, right? Is that fine? Is that, will you call it as a successful implementation? No, right? At the end of the day, it has to go out of your laboratory or a department or institute. It has to be reaching to the final customer who can probably use that to solve that real-time problem in the real time, right? And hence you have to bring out of four walls and then probably start your own company and then probably commercialize that product, and that itself is known as successful implementation. And whatever you are trying to build usually will have to be cheaper, better, and faster, right? All these aspects you will have to keep in mind while building any prototype. Then second customer other than family and friends, very important, right? Once you build a product, once you build a prototype, you will just give that, maybe convincing your family or friends, maybe with a humble request, you can maybe make them pay you and then probably purchase your product, right? If they are not from your family or friend, how do you convince them, or the second customer we call it as, right? Second, how do you convince this second customer to maybe buy or purchase or use your product? It is very difficult, right? I gave an example of purchasing a pen. As you are a customer, while purchasing, you are very much selective, right? No company can convince you, or with anyone, by anyone's force, you will not purchase any product in your life, right? Similar to that, if you look at the look from the customer's aspect, right? They will also feel the same. Unless you bring some value addition into a product, unless there is a need for your product, they will not buy. And hence you will have to keep all that in mind while prototyping and ideating. So I think from now on, probably we can just go ahead just like that. We are just coming to the end of the session now. So importance of survey and market research, I have mentioned. So before even starting the project, you will have to go do a required survey and market research. Even prior art search would also help you to probably protect your idea and then maybe focus on a novel product and all that. Right? These things we'll skip. SWOT analysis is very important. As I understand now, in the VTO curriculum also, we find SWOT analysis being there in almost all engineering verticals. As you already know, it is all about understanding your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? It is important. And then SWOT template can be used for undergoing such SWOT analysis. I had a detailed SWOT analysis template and all that. Maybe if possible in the future, I'll be more than happy to come over there physically and then probably conduct that physical activity there for all of you to work on your ideas and then write SWOT template for your ideas. Just close that here. Then business plan is very important, kind of a new thing for all of you. So this business plan is very crucial. Business plan is basically a document which will give you an insight of entire thing about your entire business, right? It will have your ideas, it will have your products, it will have your strategies, a lot of things, right? I will show you the business plan template, which is the business model canvas template here. All of you can go through this template, and also which is like openly available. All of you can download this and probably write this PMC for your ideas, whatever you are working on, right? And also these two are again important here. Revenue model and financial projection are also important. Once you have a final product, right? Once you are planning to start your own company, you will have to have a revenue model and financial projection. Probably this would be the very early stage to discuss all these things now. So this slide is very important. I'll just go through this quickly, right? So business model, what does this give you? It will give you an insight on basically the plan to implement ideas into action, contains strategies, systems, and processes. You can follow a business plan and not copy. Maybe if you have a similar product from any other competitor, right? For example, if you are building an electrical vehicle, there are so many players which are already there in the market. They may have their own business plan, their own business models. Now, what you can do, you can observe their business model or observe this business plan, right? You cannot simply copycat and then have the same for your business, right? That can probably lead to the failure of your business. You can go through their business model and then eventually have your own business model. Business has to be unique, right? It keeps on changing. It has to be unique. Uniqueness leads to sustainability. That's what I was saying, right? Even though you have multiple players in the market who are having very similar products, what is that value addition or what is the uniqueness which your product is having? That plays a vital or crucial role, right? So, and hence uniqueness leads to sustainability. Business model has to be compared with your competitors. Very, very important. Though you come up with your own business plan or business model, you'll have to compare that with your competitors so that you can keep your business model as a best one. So break-even point, which is very, very important. Break-even point is the point where you'll have no profit or no loss. This is the point from where you will start generating revenue. Before this break-even point, you will be under loss. Maybe let's say, for example, if you are starting your startup today, maybe next 3 years, if you are not reaching break-even point, that means you are in the loss for first 3 years. Once you reach a break-even point, from now that point you will be starting revenue generation. Then business model depends on how much you are in love with your business idea. Very, very important. How much you have spent time with your idea, how much how much clear about your business plan and all that, right? If your business model has to be a good one, you'll have to have spend more time on your business plan. A good business plan can take an idea to any extent. I have given very simple ideas where they have made global business. Similarly, you have to have your own business plan for that. It is inevitable for any startup. You will have to have your own business plan that will eventually help you to take your startup to the greater heights. It's a structured way of planning and analyzing any kind of business. BMC is recommended. BMC is nothing but business model canvas. I'll show you the template here. Probably these are the questions you can answer having your business model business model canvas, right? For whom is your product? What is your product? How you are going to build your particular product? Why you are going? Why are you doing this? And then profit, how much you are going to make? And then BMC, be specific, not generic. So you will have to have only the points written here, right? You cannot write a paragraph which is kind of ambiguous kind of a thing. It is kind of a specific answer that should give an insight for all the team members in the company, right? Business model generation is the book which is available online. You can also download that and get more insight, more knowledge on business plan writing here. So this is the template for business model canvas, which will give you the answer for all these questions. Basically, the questions are: who will help you in this process? How do you do it? What do you do? How do you interact? Who do you help? Then what do you need? How do you reach them? And then what will it cost? Then how much will you make? All these things are very, very important. Maybe since till this point of time, probably you all had all these questions, having a lot of innovative ideas in your mind. Now you have a template, which is business model canvas template, where all of you have a defined structure where you can have the answers written for each of your idea. Let's say, for example, you have 10 different ideas for 10 different problem statements. You can have this template downloaded, then write this particular answer for each of your idea, right? For this, you can have an activity in your IIC itself. This can probably lead to the better business plans, and then eventually you can probably use these things for your ideas while implementing for prototyping and all that. I'll not go deep into the BMC here. Probably we can skip most of the things as the time is constrained now. So I'll just go on the IPR quickly. IPR is also very, very important as we are talking about ideation and prototyping, right? Basically, intellectual property right is very, very important. This will help you to protect your idea, protect your prototype, protect your product, right? So just these are the different definitions. You can probably go through that later as well. In India, we have patent offices at Kolkata, Delhi, Chennai, and Mumbai. For us, I think Chennai patent office is the nearest one. And you can just have a look at this particular website, IP India website, where ipindia.nic.in is the Indian Patent Office website, where also you can probably file online. That is also possible, right? If you are planning to physically go and approach a IP office for filing your intellectual property right? For that, you will have to go to maybe Chennai, Kolkata, Delhi or Mumbai office, or even you can go to the website and then file IP by yourself by paying a nominal fees for each of the type of IPR. So these are the different types of IPR. Basically, as engineers, we usually deal with patents. Basically, as we are having a lot of physical products which we are going to build, right? For maybe software engineers like ISC and CSE students, you may need a copyright for copywriting your set of instructions or set of programs, whatever you're trying to write. You can have a trademark. If you are a company, for your logo and all that, you can have a trademark. You can also have industrial design if you are having a physical design that you have designed. Then geographical indications, like if you know, for example, Dharwad Peda, if you're close to Dharwad, maybe Dharwad Peda itself is a better example for your geographical indication. And then there are several other types which are layout design of integrated circuits, as we have electronics students here, and then a lot of AI ML students would also be there. So you can probably make use of this kind of type of IPR here, that is layout design of integrated circuits. If you are designing your own IC, right, there also you can protect IP through this layout design of ICs. Then trade secrets, if you know, I think Coca-Cola, nobody knows the formula. Similar to that, Pepsi, a lot of other people, they have left their maybe whatever the mechanism at which they are building their Coke, right? That itself is a trade secret, right? These are the different types of IPRs you have. Then plant variety protection is also there. If you are focusing on agriculture, if you are focusing on agri-tech products and all that, plant variety and all that, you can go ahead with this type of IP as well. So this one more slide, I'll try closing at this point of time. Patent is a monopoly right on invention, and then idea should be unique and useful. Though it is unique, if it is not useful, you will not be able to file IP, right? It should be unique and also it should be useful. Then patent search can be done for free, and also some paid search engines are also there. For free, you can go for Google patent search engine. Then there you can find the relevant patents which are already filed by various innovators, various companies. Then understanding your novelty side and all that can be made easy there. That itself is known as prior art search. Then 3 to 5 years for patent grant will be usually taken. From recent years, I think for startups, I think this has been reduced. I think within 2 years also some startups are able to get patents granted, right? Creation, protection, technology transfer, commercialization can be easily done after your IP protection. Then what, how, what not to claim has to be very clear, right? Whatever you are claiming, how you are going to make it and all that, all those has to be very clear in the application. Indian Patent Office, I have already mentioned, there are only 4 places at which you will find the patent office available in India. Then patent rights are very, very important for any innovator and any entrepreneur as well. Avoid infringement. Infringement is nothing but copying someone else's idea. Very, very important, because as students, you may do a lot of projects or innovation, right? You may not know whether it is already patented in somebody's name or some company's name. For at least to understand that, at least you will have to do prior art search, which will give you an insight on maybe similar products or maybe the owners of similar products also. You can probably understand, right? That will help you avoid copying them or avoid infringement. So I think I'll stop at this point of time. Maybe in any other occasion, probably we can probably go in detail and then probably discuss a lot of other things which I had to express. I'll just go with one more slide here, which will help me explain regarding the TBI, whatever we are having at Manipal. Yeah, I hope you are able to see my screen here. So this is giving an insight about the incubator, whatever we have at Manipal University. Manipal University TBI, we started in the year 2010. So it is almost the 13th year. So basically this TBI was started in the Manipal Academy for Higher Education, which is a university, in the year 2010. And then with the support of TBI, with the support of DST, Government of India, this TBI was started. And then eventually we have all Nidhi programs. Basically you can see here, this is Nidhi Entrepreneur in Residence program, where after your graduation, you can apply and then probably you can explore. For example, as I was mentioning earlier, now it is the right time for all of you to explore your ideas, right? Even if you fail, nobody will probably blame you. If you are an engineer, if you are out of your engineering, what happens? You may have a lot of pressure to get a job, or a lot of things will be there. Now, this is the scheme from DST, Government of India, which is giving an opportunity for science and technology graduates After their graduation, they will have 1 year of support here. This is kind of a pre-incubation engagement where up to 30,000 rupees of stipend or a fellowship will be given for the candidate for 1 year. This is to work on their idea and then probably convert that idea into a viable product. If they're successful, they can even start a company. And also we have Nidhi Prayas here. Nidhi Prayas is giving up to 10 lakhs of grant. Those faculties or maybe students who are attending this session can also probably explore. If you have a physical prototype, which is really viable, which is really novel, I think it is not easy to get selected in this platform, but if you're really having that kind of idea and a roadmap to build that product, right, then there you can also get this kind of support where you will be able to get up to 10 lakhs of grant from the government of India for this prototyping, right? We also have a Nidhi seed support program for which we will have to have a registered entity. If you are a startup, then only you are eligible. Up to 25 lakhs of support is extended for startups in this particular program. If you look at incubation program, we have supported almost more than 45 startups as on today. So in that we have almost 15 startups as on today with us physically available in the incubator. They have raised a lot of funds. You can look at the slide here. They have raised more than 22 crores fund from the outside agencies, government, grants, etc. And then Nidhi here also they have raised grant. Prayas also they have received 1.25 crores of grants here. We can look at our startups. Most of them are doing really good, very good. I think we can say in India, I think out of top incubators, we also stand in the I think the top incubators list in the state of Karnataka. So you are free to approach us if you have any doubts or any suggestions, or if you want to start your own company. Feel free to approach us anytime. So I'll be more than happy to extend support to all of you. So this ends my presentation. So probably I'm open for the questions. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Participants, if you are having any queries, kindly ask, because he is handling the incubation center for many years. Some of the questions can be directly answered, in this session itself.
Yeah, I think if there are no questions, we can probably stop at this point of time. I would like to wholeheartedly thank the entire institute management, principal, and IIC team there. And also special thanks to Dr. Rajshekar sir for having extending this invitation for me to be a resource person in this particular session. So this is my contact details. I think if any of you are having further support required or anything required, anytime you can approach us. Usually we'll be having some tight schedule, but even then I'll try to probably give you whatever the support you require. I'll be happy to help all of you.
So with the end of the session, I would like to sincerely thank Mr. Mallesh Kumar BS for having given the broad spectrum of this problem solving and ideation. Sir, we know that it's a very wider topic, a lot of subtopics coming to this. It's not going, we cannot address in 1.5 hour. Every subtopic has got a lot of depth. So anyway, we are thankful for giving a brief idea about, you have touched upon all the subtopics of an innovation, problem solving and ideation in particular. I also sincerely thank our principal and president of IIC, Dr. Uday Kumar Ampanur sir, and vice principal Dr. Barki sir, and importantly, convener of IIC of your institution, Dr. Subhash Meti sir, and all the HODs and department staff for making this event successful and supporting in all the stages. So with this note, today we can sign off. And thank you, Mallesh sir. We'll be in touch with you and we require more support from your side.
Yeah, sure, sir. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. This ends the today's session. We can close out for today's session. Yeah. Thank you very much, everybody.